get to look at the month of September. I know it's still a couple of weeks away, but never hurts to look ahead and be prepared. If I haven't met you before, my name is Luke Safford, and I do a few things with Tucson Audubon. I coordinate our volunteer program, so I do know that we have quite a few volunteers with us today on the session. So thanks to all of you for the time you spend in helping Tucson Audubon achieve its mission of inspiring others to protect and enjoy birds. That's what we do. And so a lot of you are part of that. We even have a few board members here as well too. So thanks to all of you for being part of that. And so besides coordinating our volunteer program, I also coordinate the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival for Tucson Audubon, which happened a couple of weeks ago. Many of you were part of that as well. And then I get to put together all these cool engagement opportunities through Zoom and our field trips and different things that are going on, hoping to open up more field trips and stuff here in the next few months. We'll see how things go. But for right now, we're still doing a lot of virtual stuff, and I see that happening, continuing even when we have in-person events too. So really enjoy doing these Zoom sessions with y'all. So that's a little bit about what I do with Tucson Audubon. As we get into the presentation, I'm going to start it here pretty soon. Just want to make you aware of a few different things to make the whole session really helpful for everyone and for you to have some participation with it. Down below on your screen, you have a little thought bubble icon, and below it, it says chat. You can click on that, and a lot of you are already using the chat function, but you can just type a message in there when the chat box comes up when you click on it and hit enter, and then that message will go out to everyone. That's a great way throughout the presentation that if you have a question or a thought or insight or something that comes up, maybe I'll have a question and for you to respond there too. But put that in there, and my co-host today, Tori, is going to be checking through that chat to see different questions come up, and at appropriate times I'll stop talking and invite Tori to share those questions with me. At the end, we'll have some time for verbal questions too. So we'll open that up at the end, and I'll share with you then how to raise your hand and all of that. But if you could keep yourself on mute throughout the presentation, and Tori will be that conduit between all of you and me, sharing those thoughts back and forth. That'll be a great way to do it. We've also started recording this session, so we'll send it out to you later. If there's something you want to go back and check out, you're more than welcome to do that or to download it. And all right, we'll start going here. I do really welcome questions, so don't be afraid to, if you have, a question on something I talked about, or maybe it's something I'm not talking about, and you have a question about like, hey, how come Luke didn't say this hot spot? I thought this might be a good spot in September. How come you didn't mention it? You could always put something like that in the questions box too, and we'll see if we can get to all of them. Should wrap up right around noon. So, all right, without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and get to our time together. All right. So you should be able to see a nice looking blue grosbeak right there. So this series started back, I think, in May. Where to go birding in Southeast Arizona? It's a question that I often get, and a lot of us Tucson Audubon folks or birding guides, like when people are coming from out of town, or even people who live here in Tucson, wonder, all right, if I'm planning a trip to go to Tucson, or if I'm going to go out birding and take a day off of work or do something, when's the best time to go? And over again, I was getting this question. It made me think, well, let's look at each month, because every month here in Southeast Arizona has something really special about it. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what month is best to come here. I usually tell people August. August is amazing because of the monsoons. Even when we don't have much of a monsoon like this year, it's still an amazing month to come. April is usually right behind that. And then September, amazingly enough, is one of the best months to come here and go birding. And the reason why September is such a good month to come to Southeast Arizona is because fall migration is coming through, and there's really, really good diversity of birds. The one drawback of September is that a lot of the birds are leaving. So, well, I guess it's not a drawback because they're still here, but they're leaving. So this is like your last month to catch some of the most sought after birds in Southeast Arizona. Like yellow-billed cuckoos leave in September. A lot of the hummingbirds will leave. So like you'll stop seeing Lucifer hummingbird. You'll stop seeing white-eared hummingbird. You'll stop seeing a lot of elegant trogons start migrating out in September. These blue grosbeaks right here is one bird that I see in a lot of different places all throughout Southeast Arizona during the month of September. In fact, I was at the Patton Center for hummingbirds on Saturday looking for the plain-capped starthroat, and there's a blue grosbeak at one of the feeders. I was like, oh, cool, blue grosbeak. And someone else is like, oh, we've seen blue grosbeaks everywhere. We don't need to see anymore. And so that's kind of true for August and September, but I don't see how anyone could get tired of seeing a blue grosbeak. It's one of those birds I think of when I think of September. All the grasses and seeds are starting to just be in abundance. So we see a lot of grosbeaks, we see a lot of buntings. And so I wanted to share a couple other birds that make me think, when I think of September birding around here, the birds that I normally think of. One is olive-sided flycatcher. Not one that breeds around here, but one that moves through here during spring and fall migration. Fall, and specifically September, tends to be the month when I see most of my olive-sided flycatchers. This is a flycatcher. It's a lot like a western wood pewee, except it's a little bigger. You can see it's really dark. It's got like that white stripe that goes down its breast, kind of like it's dressed in a three-piece suit, with that white going down the middle and just real dark. It's got a thicker bill than western wood pewee. And if you see it on the other side right here, we see the front, but if you see it on the other side, and if you see it positioned the right way, you'll see a little white mark kind of on between its back and its wing back here. And it's got a really cool song that sounds like Quick 3 Beers, but we won't hear that in fall migration. They usually don't sing during fall. But this is one I look for actually at Sweetwater Wetlands. I was looking back at my records for Sweetwater, and usually the first week of September, I've birded Sweetwater for every September since 2015, and I think I missed it one first week of September I missed it. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So out of 5 years, I've seen it 4 out of 5 years, that first week of September at Sweetwater. And it'll just pass through. It might stay 2 or 3 weeks at the most, but a lot of times it'll just move right through a one-day type thing, maybe. But look for that first week of September. Another bird that I really think of when it comes to September birding is lazuli bunting or lazuli bunting. I don't know exactly how to say it, but I think it's lazuli. I kind of go back and forth on that. And they're actually really prominent right now as well. They're starting to move through for migration, but with all the seeds that start coming out late August and early to mid-September, it's just a really good time to see these stunners, that really sky blue head and upper back, and then that it's like a chestnut. This male right here is just it's a stunner. The female will just be mostly this kind of chestnut color right here. Won't have any of the blue, won't have much of this real bright white, but it'll just be kind of a buffy chestnut color. Maybe not as great looking, but they'll be around too. But look for the males. That's a great one. And then another bird I think of that we don't have, that doesn't breed here. See, a lot of these birds are just migrants. So lazuli buntings usually won't breed here either. But Vox's swift is one that zooms through here in the spring. And sometimes I'll see it in the spring, April, May-ish, but I'm much more likely to see Vox's swift migrating in September than any other time in Arizona. So if you're a Tucson resident and you're not going up to the Northwest where they breed, and you want to see a Vox's swift, you got to get out birding in September. And so whether it's Sweetwater or some of these other places I'll mention today, keep your eyes peeled up high for swifts, whether they're Voxes or white-throated. Voxes will be a lot smaller, maybe like the size of a cliff swallow, but they'll hold their wings in a different shape kind of than a swallow. They'll have a much more like direct kind of, I don't know, like the wings are kind of held back a little bit further. You can kind of see that here. They just have a different flight pattern than swallows. So keep your eyes peeled above for Vox's swifts. They'll be flying fast and furious, and so you just got to try to, see them with your naked eye first before looking with your binoculars, and it'll just be super dark. In the Northwest, it's really cool when they start migrating. They'll do these vortex for night roosts. They'll do this vortex into a chimney or something, and there'll be like thousands of them. We don't get that here. They just zoom through, but keep your eyes peeled for that. So let's move on to some different locations. After our first location or so, then we'll have some time for questions. I see the chat thing opening there, but if I open the chat, then I'm gonna get sidetracked. So we'll wait a little bit for that. So the first spot that I want to talk about is Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. I don't know how many of you have made it down to this wildlife refuge. It actually took me a couple of years of living here before I went down there to check it out. What got me down there finally to check it out was someone had seen some roseate spoonbills in Aguirre Lake, or I think it's a Aguirre Lake. I've heard people announce it different ways, kind of like that lazuli bunting thing, but I'm gonna call it Aguirre Lake. So I'm gonna show you a map here pretty soon of where Aguirre Lake is at Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. But the big thing is, if there's water there from the monsoons, and I honestly don't know right now if there is water. Even if there's not water, it's going to be good birding. But if there's water there, it is a sight to behold. There are so many birds there. And there was a report of roseate spoonbills there early one September, and I think it was 2017. And my friend Matt Griffiths and I went down to check this place out, and it was amazing. So Buenos Aires is southwest of Tucson. To get to Aguirre is probably like an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes to get down there. It's kind of like the opposite of Patagonia. So like Patagonia is like southeast of Tucson. Buenos Aires is that southwest. You go west a little bit and you go down to the border, and that's where you'll find it. But if Aguirre Lake has water, you got to go there. So I was looking here. I'm gonna switch my share here to this. Okay. Here's the hotspot for Aguirre Lake at Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. You can see 153 species have been seen there in September over the years. That's about 50 more than any other month of the year. And it's because when this lake fills up with water, there's just no telling what'll be there. But you can see last year there wasn't any water in there. But my friend Michael Welch went there September 19th and was there for just under 2 hours and saw 40 species. You can show you a little bit about what you might see there just from his list here. But yellow-headed blackbirds, you can see the blue grosbeaks, lazuli bunting, but you have the effects of fall migration coming through. The green-tailed towhee, that's one that doesn't breed there, but you know, it's kind of that mix of breeding birds, non-breeding birds, wintering birds, and just birds that are headed straight through. Swainson's hawk. So let's go back to you share. Oh. This is a beautiful picture too. This is what it looks like when. Okay, but here's Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. You got Highway 286. So if you go 286 north, you're going to get to the Ryan Airfield, like around 3 points. So from Tucson, you go west out towards Ajo, and then you go south on 286, and there's it's really good signage. Leads you right to the headquarters right here at the Wildlife Refuge, and then it's just like about a mile over here to where you park, and then you can walk around here. This is a wire lake right here, and Green Pond, and then right through here is kind of like a whoop. Didn't mean to go over that far yet. Right through here is kind of like a drainage irrigation ditch that's usually full of water too. So you park here and you can walk around here, and it's a pretty nice path, really flat, maybe like a mile loop that you can do, or it can be shorter, but it's really easy walking. Just look for rattlesnakes. It's basically an old road. This used to be an all big ranch. So there's roads out all over here that you can walk around. And then as you head out, there's usually a little pond right here by the headquarters that you should check out too. And Buenos Aires, what they're mostly known for is for their work with masked bobwhites. So what I thought I would do is I want to have us watch this little clip about Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. It's like, I might stop it halfway through, watch it for a couple of minutes, but it tells us a little bit more about Buenos Aires and what to expect there. Because I don't know how many of you have been there, but I haven't been there as much as I should. So let's watch this. And maybe Tori, just let me know if for some reason it's not playing correctly.
The refuge here is about 118,000 acres. It was established in 1985 for the purpose of protecting and managing semi-desert grasslands as well as endangered species, with the emphasis on the masked bobwhite quail. It's a highly endangered bird. We have the captive flock that we have on refuge is comprised of about 99% of the entire species. It's just a beautiful, unique place, removed from the city, wide open public land for anybody to visit. Because this was an old ranch, there is a big network of roads for people to travel, and they are all public roads. We have a large hunt program in conjunction with Arizona Game and Fish, and so a lot of hunters come down here. But also, it's a very popular bird watching refuge. The Arivaca cienega is probably the hot spot for the refuge because it has water and a nice trail and boardwalk, and a lot of people go there.
This is an important bird area. The entire refuge is designated as an important bird area, just like Madeira Canyon and so forth. And you get a huge diversity of birds. A lot of activity here.
He's checking it out. Well, I've been associated with the Arivaca Watershed Education Task Force for many years, and we study the water resource of Arivaca in the basin we live in, which is a kind of isolated little basin from which we all draw our water. And really the entirety of the basin funnels down to this area of the Cienega and creates a beautiful wetland with usually a flowing stream through it. And it's a wonderful place with big cottonwoods and wonderful riparian area. Startling things can happen. You can walk around here and see bobcats, mountain lions, javelina, really rare birds like gray hawks, all kinds of different things that you really can't see even a mile away.
Awesome. So it talked a lot about Aravaca cienega there, and I'm going to share a little bit about that here soon too. But one thing that I heard in that was just like kind of how isolated it is, and I've really seen that. It's the opposite direction of a lot of the other birding sites that we go to. A lot of times we'll go to the De Anza Trail or Patagonia or Sonoita or Sierra Vista or Mount Lemmon, but not often do we go to the Southwest. And it's just something I think in September, there's a migration funnel that goes down that way that oftentimes birders will miss. And I think it'd be good for us to just be mindful that's a good spot to go this time of year. So again, here's the map. So Swainson's hawk right here is one of the birds that I would really be looking for in September. And as you're walking here at Aegir Lake, it's if you're walking on this loop right here, you park here and there'll be a sign, and you'll start walking over to the right. There's like a little drainage thing right here, and you'll be looking. This will more than likely be all dry in a big field, and this is often where I'll see Swainson's hawks just sitting out here in September. Swainson's hawks migrate south, and a lot of times you can see them in really big groups up at the Santa Cruz Flats, or maybe around in the Sulphur Springs Valley, south of Wilcox. Those like around Whitewater Draw, those can be good spots. But you can also see that same sort of effect here around Aegir Lake. So along with Swainson's hawks, almost every time I've been there in September, I'll say it, I've been there like 3 times in September, different years, but Vox's Swift is one I'll usually see there. This is not September, but one December I was there, and we had over 100 white-throated swifts, which was amazing. Western and Cassin kingbirds. Western kingbirds just move through the area in huge numbers this time of year. Sparrows will start coming in, and the sparrows love right along the edges of that road that you're walking on. And tons of brewers, sparrows, likely in mid to late September. I don't know if early September you'd pick up brewers, but early September you would pick up different warblers coming through. I remember one September year we had a whole bunch of McGilvery's warblers moving through along the edges of those roads. So something to be thinking about, and of course Lazuli buntings. But those road areas are really good to check out for those. And if there's water there, you could have all sorts of weird things, from long-billed curlew to willets to roseate spoonbills that were there one year. And normally it would, if it does fill up from monsoon rain, it would be late August, September. So other hot spots here, Buenos Aires, like as seen in that video, Aravaca cienega can be really good. So I'll just show you here real quick where Aravaca cienega is located. Let's go to the map. If I can get there. Well, that's Nogales. We don't want Nogales. So we can go over here. There's Aravaca. Now have to pull out here. So you have Green Valley here. It's almost faster to go to the Aravaca cienega portion of Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge from I-19. You could also come down 286, but I-19 is probably faster. You would take the Amado exit after you check the Amado wastewater treatment plant for something special there. Then you make the long drive over to Aravaca. That's right here. And you can see the Aravaca cienega is right here. So right before you get into the little town of Aravaca, you would see there's a big sign right here in parking area. And you would park here. I'm gonna turn on the satellite so you can see the turn off in the parking area right here. And you take this trail through some mesquite trees. And then once you get through the mesquites, you'll see some cottonwoods over here. In the past, there's been water through here. There's not as much anymore. There was a little bit earlier this year. But a lot of times this whole area right here can be filled with a whole bunch of sunflowers. David Griffin, a friend of mine who has done a lot of work with Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge in the past, mentioned on the Arizona listserv a couple of weeks ago that this will be a really good area to check for painted buntings, lazuli buntings, varied buntings, maybe indigo buntings, any type of seed eaters, lesser goldfinches for sure in these sunflowers here. So September will be a great time to check that out. They'll probably be in bloom then. They should be. But that's another great spot. And then there's a few other areas that I'll go to here. If we go to, there's a pond called, I should know how to pronounce these, but Honus Pond, I think that's how you say it. So this is Arivaca Cienega right here. This is the eBird hotspot. And if you go through the town of Arivaca, you'll see a little parking spot. And this is Honus Pond. This would be a good spot to check in September too. And you just park at this little parking area, and then you walk to this pond right here and see what's hanging out there. But that's just a good spot to check out. And then the Arivaca Creek is up over this way. There's another trailhead there. So, Tori, any questions so far about maybe Buenos Aires or anything else?
Not about Buenos Aires, but we do have some questions.
Okay.
Karen wanted to know if hummingbirds should still be present in September in Sierra Vista in the same places that you mentioned in August.
Yeah, they should be. They'll be dwindling in numbers though. So August is by far the not just highest diversity, but also highest number of hummingbirds. So I would say for some of the more rare species like white-eared or lucifer or barreline or blue-throated mountain gem, those will be quickest to leave.
Okay.
But should still be September should still be pretty good for that. It'll be slowing down.
Okay. And Sarah wanted to know where you found the Vox's Swift, or where they can be found now.
Yeah, so I think they might start moving through here this week or next week. Late August, you can find Vox's Swift migrating through, but September is going to be the best time, probably the first, second, third weeks of September. And they can kind of be anywhere. And that's the hard thing with Vox's Swifts, and especially any bird when they're migrating through, they can really be anywhere. You could theoretically maybe even see one from your midtown home if you're out there at the right time. But what I would say is Sweetwater has been a spot where I see them a lot in September, Aegir Lake, and then maybe one of the other spots I get to later.
Okay. Mary wanted to know if the San Bernardino Wildlife Refuge near Douglas was a good birding spot in past years before the water was taken out by the contractors.
That's a question. I don't know the answer to that. I know people who would have the answer to that, except they're not with me right now, so I can't pick their brain. So I don't know. I haven't been down there before, so yeah, I don't have much to add.
So that was all the questions that we had, but there were a few comments. Tina saw a lazuli bunting at Lakeside Park and a tricolor heron. And Mary,
that tricolored been hanging out there, yeah.
Yeah, Mary saw one at Santa Rita Lodge. And then Leslie said that she was at Aguirre Lake in July and there wasn't any water, but there were a lot of tanagers there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. So July, I wouldn't expect there to be any water. Maybe there is a little bit now, maybe not. Water's hard to come by, but when you find it, that's where the birds are going to be, and that's a good spot to try out. So good to know. Thanks, Tori.
You're welcome.
So, another spot, a few spots here that I think would be good to check out in September are a lot of these canyons in the Pajarito Mountains west of Nogales. So if you've been on any of my talks with me, you probably heard me talk about Sycamore Canyon before. I'm not going to go into a lot of in-depth with Sycamore, except for just to say this. Well, here's a picture of Sycamore Canyon in September in the evening when I would say scores, I was going to say hundreds, but it wasn't hundreds, but it was scores, like 20s of Cassin's kingbirds that were just like, it felt like they were falling from the sky, and they were going down into this canyon down here about the time I was taking this picture. But there's a lot of migration that comes through these canyons, whether it's Sycamore Canyon, Peña Blanca Canyon. So here's Sycamore over here. This is Peña Blanca Lake, this really red, the redder the little spot, the more birds that are seen there. So blue, the least, orange, yellow, or blue, green, yellow, orange, red is kind of how it goes. So you can see the lake. But these are the dots from the hot spots here in September. So this is Peña Blanca Lake. This is in Canyon. This is Walker Canyon. This is Mariposa. I'm going to talk about Mariposa Canyon here pretty soon. It's blue. Just because it's blue doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it hasn't been birded very often. But Sycamore Canyon, here's an example, both for Sycamore and Peña Blanca, why I think that these need to be birded more in September. So here is Sycamore. In August, there's been 137 species seen in August at Sycamore Canyon. That's 137 species from 167 checklists over all the years. So 137 species in August. In September, there's been 135 species. So only 2 less in September, but only 47 checklists. So 120 less checklists, only 2 species less. So if we had 120 more checklists from Sycamore Canyon in September, that number would just, it would blow August out of the water. September in these canyons is amazing. For Peña Blanca Lake and Canyon, there's 29 more species have been seen in September than August, but 150 less checklists. So I tell people August is the best month to come. That's what we always tell people. And then they come here in August and they bird the heck out of these spots in August. But really what's proving itself is September, there's more species. And so it's because of migration, they come down through these canyons for their fall migration, these corridors. And there's just really good birding in these sections. So what I want to focus on, though, is little Mariposa Canyon down here at the bottom right of your screen. It's blue. And the reason it's blue is because there's only been 3 checklists there, or maybe 1 checklist. There's only been 3 checklists there ever, completed checklists. There's only been 1 completed checklist in September, but that was for me. And I need to get back down there, and I want to encourage people to get down there. It's a really, really cool spot. So here's Sycamore, or not Sycamore, here's Mariposa Canyon. You can see it's right next to the border wall. Doesn't it look greener on the other side of that border wall, by the way? Does it look a little green back there? No, it's green here. But as you move away from the wall, it does get much greener. I'm going to show you a map of how to get to Mariposa and a few different things about it. Let's go to the new share. Boom. Right here. So let's back out here. This is, eBird is great for this. You can do so much with eBird. Or actually, let's go to the Google map though. And then we'll go back to eBird. So here's I-19. You can see this come down here. I'm gonna put it on a regular map. I-19, you come down to Nogales. And you take the Mariposa exit. So that it's Mariposa Canyon, take the Mariposa exit, 189, like you're going down to the border over here. And you'll drive by, you'll see the big Border Patrol spot right here, bunch of different industries coming through here. And you'll come down here, let me get to satellite, and you'll take, it's a dirt road. This will kind of be going uphill. This will be uphill right here. And you take this dirt road. It's not that bad of a road. The worst part is right in here. But a regular car should be able to make it high clearance, no problem. You don't need four-wheel drive at all. But you take this little side road right here. And what this does is this turns into the road that goes right along the border wall. So as you see here, I'll scroll back just a little bit. But you'll take this road, and as you see here, it'll drop to the southwest, and you'll kind of be up on a ridge here. You'll be driving up. There's a lot of Border Patrol, or at least in the past when I've been there a few times, not just in September. It's a fairly well-maintained road because the Border Patrol takes it. And as you come down here, you'll get super close to the wall. You can see the wall is right here. And it juts out a little bit right here. And you'll come down this, you can see how it drops in elevation right here. You can see this is the slope of the hill. And you'll drop down here. And as you drop down, you'll see a little road. This is the wash. The road is right, I know where the road is at, right here. Yeah, basically the wash. And actually, it might be even easier to show on the eBird. It's really not that hard to find. Okay, here we go. You can see how it drops, and there's a road right here, and there's a big oak tree or ash tree, oak or ash tree that you can park under for shade. And you'll just park right there. This is where I got introduced to this canyon through yellow-billed cuckoo surveys. And in that picture, me and Brian Barbaras, volunteer at Tucson Audubon, that's what we were doing on that day, is doing a yellow-billed cuckoo survey. And we were putting recorders through this wash. And there we did have quite a few yellow-billed cuckoos through here. But you park here, and then there's a road that you can walk down, or you can walk down to the wash and just walk up this wash. And it's been awesome birding through here every time I've been there, all 3 times. But that September was quite the walk. Let me go to, so you can see only 3 completed checklists for Mariposa Canyon. Let's go here and check this out. Well, you can see it was late September when I was there. Let's click on it. Black-bellied whistling duck. Now, how did I get black-bellied whistling duck here in this canyon that looks like there's 0 water there? I'll go back and show you. So here's the Google map. As you walk down here, so on good monsoon seasons in Nogales, so it could be totally different than Tucson. I haven't been down there recently, so I'm not sure. But if you walk down here about 1.5 miles, I think it's about 1.5 miles. Let me check to see what I put down for mileage. Well, so 2.75, that was total. So that was before I knew that I was only supposed to put down mileage for one way. So you're only supposed to put mileage down for one way for eBird checklist, but I forgot to do that for this one. That was before I learned my lesson. So it's about a little less than 1.5 miles. And down here, you can see how this opens up down here. This all gets flooded. And so if this is flooded, then you just have this amazing birding. You have it was a big pond right here. And as you can see from the checklist, we had whistling ducks, cinnamon teal, pintail, and green-winged teal. Not very often you get those in a canyon in the Pajaritos, but there you do. Also, I remember tons of swallows. I think this is, yes, 72 barn swallows. We had this massive movement of swallows over this area while we were there. And also, you can see we started getting a lot of the sparrows coming through, brewer sparrows and chipping sparrows, vesper sparrows. It's just, September is a great time to see those sparrows start moving their way back into the area from the north. And you get other birds like blue-gray gnatcatcher, Wilson's warbler that are migrating through. We had a grosbeak. I remember, I'm almost sure it was rose-breasted grosbeak, but I didn't get a good enough look at it. But then also another bird to be looking for in this area is dick thistle. Dick thistle is one to be looking for here in these canyons, whether it's Mariposa or Peña Blanca Canyon and Lake can be a really good spot for dick thistles. I think I have that in the PowerPoint. Well, here's greyhawk. Greyhawk, again, one of those birds to be looking for in the canyons, and dick thistles. So you can see, I think these are female dick thistles. They got that really like white malar striping kind of look there, and a little bit of yellow on the breast. They got these really big, thick bills, kind of like grosbeaks. And so that's a bird to be looking for in September. I remember last September, I was going to say tons of dick thistles everywhere. It was an influx of dick thistles I don't think we've seen since I've been here anyways, since 2015, last year in September. And I think that they are moving because of some habitat loss, degradation. So it probably is going to prove itself to happen again this year. We'll see, but look for those in these different areas, along with greyhawks. I don't know if you've heard greyhawk before, but this is what you should be listening for when you're in these canyons. I love that noise there. But yeah, Mariposa Canyon is something to check out. And like I said, I haven't been there for a little bit, but I remember it just being a really good spot to check out in the month of September. And really Peña Blanca Lake and Canyon, let me zero in on those a little bit better too. Let me go back to the map here, and I can. So probably you've never been to Mariposa Canyon. Yeah, I'm guessing you haven't. But Peña Blanca Lake is probably a spot you have been to. But if you haven't, you take the Ruby Road exit right here, opposite the Pilot, and it's paved for most of it until it's paved all the way until Peña Blanca. And you can park here at the parking area, and you can walk all around the lake if you want. I would say one of my favorite things to do when I bird the lake is to take this little spur right here and park here and bird this southern part. This section right here tends to be where I found the most species, and a lot of rarities like green kingfisher, dick thistle, or painted bunting have really been in this section right here. And instead of parking up here with all the trailers, boat trailers, park right here and just kind of walk along the edges here. And then up, if you park here with the trailers, you can walk on the trailers to the dam. The dam is up here. But this whole section, this kind of northwest section of arm of Peña Blanca can be really good too. And then the canyon is the opposite direction of the lake. You go past the campground and park here, and then you can walk down the canyon here. I don't know. Yeah, there's a little bit of a trail there that you can take. Tori, any questions so far?
Yeah, we've got some questions.
Okay.
Linda wanted to know if Canoa Ranch Lake would be a good spot.
That's next. We'll get there. That's next, and then we're done.
Okay.
Canoa, yeah. I'm really excited about Canoa this September. It's
And
gonna.
Karen was wondering what kind of, when you were talking about Mariposa Canyon, what kind of temps they could expect there, and what time of day you recommended going there?
That's a good point. Go to Mariposa early. There's not as much shade there as you're gonna get in Sycamore Canyon. And if you want to know more about Sycamore, you can hit me up later. I'm always happy to talk about that canyon. There's a lot of shade there. You can bird there just about any time of the day, even though it is hot and you're far away from everything. Mariposa is going to be hotter. So in September, sunrise is about 6:30 to 7 o'clock. I would get there about 6:30 to 7 o'clock.
Okay. Grant wants to know when Purple Martins head south.
They'll head out in September. They'll be one of those that they come in a little bit later in May, and then they head out in September. Right now is a good time to see them though, because you're done breeding and pretty much, and they're out and about fueling up for migration back south.
Okay. James asked if any of the areas that you've talked about are fee areas.
No. Buenos Aires, like Aguirre Lake and Arivaca Cienega, there's not a cost to go to those spots. And same with all of these canyons, it's free to park there.
Okay. And Tina is wondering about the safety of Mariposa, where there is a lot of border patrol. She's wondering if it's safe to go alone or
I want to say it's safe to go alone. It's always, I think it's always good. Like if you're going to go hiking somewhere in Southeast Arizona, just because of the heat and everything, a lot of these places are a little bit more isolated. That I would try to go with another person. I wouldn't fear a safety from people or border patrol or travelers, international travelers. I wouldn't fear any of that. I would fear more, not fear. I wouldn't fear anything, but I would be concerned about heat, water, hurting an ankle, something like that.
okay.
So it's always good to have a birding buddy. If you're looking for a birding buddy, I might be able to point you to some other people who are looking for the same thing. But yeah, that's the advice I'd give.
Okay, that's all I've got now.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go to Canoa Ranch because that really, I'm glad someone brought that up. So historic Canoa Ranch. This place is, I think, going to be really good this September. I mean, it's already good. But I don't know how many of you have been there recently. You can see this is brand new just in the past year and a half or so, where they put in the pond. So they have this big pond, but they also been a lot of different plantings around the edges. And then as you go into the Canoa Ranch, I'll show you a map here pretty soon. You walk around the lake. On the north side of the lake now, they've created this water that drains into like a cienega with a lot of new plantings, a lot of grasses that are going to seed and going to be attracting sparrows and sorts of stuff. And there's also some really good muddy areas. So it was all this place is already attracting shorebirds like avocets and willets and spotted sandpipers, and from the common shorebirds to rare shorebirds, but it's just gonna get even better, and a place that needs serious birding monitoring this month. So sparrows are something that's really, that Canoa Ranch last year was really known for. I'm going to show you an eBird checklist from my friend Brian Nicholas. One of his checklists from September last year is just filled with sparrows. Brewer sparrows, lark sparrows, vesper sparrows, white crowned sparrows, Lincoln sparrows, lark sparrows. Like they're all coming through. You can see there's a lark sparrow here with that. They're a migrant that's starting to come through right now. It got these really big chestnut markings on its face. Vesper sparrow, one of the sparrows that winter here. They won't breed here, but they'll winter, and they start coming back in September. I always like vespers because they have these nice white edgings on the tail, so when they fly, you can see the white edgings on the tail, and that's a good indicator of vesper. Also, just like they kind of have like a chestnut mark on their shoulder patch here. They can't really see here. Oh, lark sparrows, when they fly, they have like white circles on their tails. So when you see them fly, they get, instead of the white edging, they have like white circles. Casting sparrow is one of the rare sparrows that turns up a lot at Canoa Ranch. They'll winter in that area. Of course, they breed, in the road that goes up to Proctor Road and Madera Canyon. They'll breed there, and then they will, some of them winter in Canoa. So it's kind of a good transition point for them. I'm going to, let's go to this. So here's Canoa Ranch right here. You have the front, this is I-19 and the frontage road. So you drive down I-19 past Green Valley. It's the last exit of Green Valley, the Canoa Ranch exit. You take that and you go over to the frontage road on the east side of the freeway, go north just a little bit, and then you'll see this big sign for historic Canoa Ranch. Drive through here. This is like a big area of mesquite trees right here, and you'll see the parking area. This is a big parking area right now. This is kind of an old Google map showing of it, but this is a parking area. This right here is now a really big lake. There's a trail that goes all around it, and then on the north side of the lake, it goes down into this new Cienega. And I've been there a couple times this past month, and we had a lark bunting in there last week when I was there, blue grosbeaks. We had western sandpipers, leaf sandpipers in there. So it's a really interesting mix, lazuli buntings of bird species that are going to use this. And so, as you've seen with some of these other spots, the Deer Lake, Mariposa, where that water kind of congregates down there at the end, wherever you have like these big pond areas where there isn't normally water, like these birds are going to be attracted to it. It's where sunflowers grow. It's where all these seeds and grasses are plentiful. So let's go to, I want to show you this checklist from my friend Brian. Let's go right here, and then let's go to, let's eBird checklist right here. eBird is amazing when it comes to finding different things out about these areas. So here's Canoa Ranch. Let's go to the hot spot. So 249 species overall. Let's go to September. Just September, all years. 163. If you go to August, let's see how many we're seeing there in August. I bet it's less. Look, 138. And that's 225 checklists. Let's look at September. Oh, 290. Oh, there's a lot of checklists there from last year. But we tell people August is the best time to come. Maybe we should start saying September, because it always seems like there's a lot more species in September than August. maybe it might be a good thing to try like a big day or something in September and see what happens. And then also in 3 days, look, September 30th, in 3 days, go back to the 28th, there's 98 species seen at Canoa Ranch in just 3 days. That's pretty amazing. That was last September. Let's look at just Brian's checklist from September 30th. This is an amazing checklist, and just a sample of what you could find there on a regular September day. He was there for 3 hours. Of course, he walked 3 miles. He probably walked around that lake 5 times, 6 times in 3 hours. But let's look at his sparrows. Cassin sparrow, grasshopper sparrow. So here's the big sparrow that that we should be mindful of when it comes to rare birds in September. This is the clay-colored sparrow. Let's see. You can see it's a little bit smaller than these neighboring white-crowned sparrows. You can see this gray collar right here. Let's see. Oh, that's not as good of a picture here. Let's go back to this picture. Look at this really clear white eyebrow and this really clear white kind of throat stripe. And so clay-colored sparrow, last year we had, well, just about every September we kind of have an influx of clay-coloreds come through, and they're considered fairly rare species for Arizona, much like a dickcissel. And oftentimes dickcissels and clay-colored sparrows show up about the same time. But Canoa Ranch was really known last September for the amount of clay-colored sparrows that were out and about. So they're very similar to chipping sparrows, very similar to brewer sparrows. And you can see that, you know, Brian also had 35 brewer sparrows that day. He had, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll count the towhees too. 11, 12 different types of sparrow species. So sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes sparrows can be a little bit difficult to identify at different times, little brown birds. But September is a great time to brush up on the identification of sparrows and to test them out at Canoa. It's really close, at 45 minutes, about 40 minutes south of Tucson. If you live in Green Valley or Sahuarita, it's right in your backyard. Going there would be a really good thing to do. And again, you know, what time of the day to go there? Go in the morning, but it can be good at any time. You can see Brian, this is a checklist from 1:17 p.m. So don't be fooled by September thinking it's fall and it's not as hot. September is still really hot in Southeast Arizona. I get fooled every year thinking that it's going to cool down in September. It doesn't. But the birding isn't as bad in the afternoon in September as it is in other summer months. So, if you go back to the other checklists here in September, you can see it. There's purple martins still at the very end of September. So, for your question about purple martins, they're still around, just not in as good in numbers. White-tailed kite is another one that usually comes there during this transition time as well. So while you're at Canoa, you should check Amado wastewater treatment plant too. It's just south of Canoa Ranch on the frontage road. So just keep going south on the frontage road, past the hospital, and before you get to the, you also pass the rest area there along the freeway, and before you get to the Amado exit, you'll see the little pond on the east side of the road. And you never know what's going to show up in September. September is a great time for kind of post-breeding dispersal for a lot of these different herons or egrets, and then also for some of these weird gulls or seabirds, they get brought up because of different tropical storms or things that are coming up from the Gulf of California. So these are different birds that have shown up at either Amado or Kanoa in the past 2 Septembers in 2019 and 18. You can see everything from Sabin's gull to Caspian tern, the wood stork, redneck phalarope, and of course this gorgeous brown pelican here at Amado. But that's the thing with September, is that the storms that come in, if you see anything happening with any sort of tropical depression or hurricane that's coming in from the Gulf of California, get yourself down to Kanoa or to Amado. I think it was back in 2017 or 16 when there was a huge influx of seabirds from a hurricane that brought in petrels and storm petrels and shearwaters. And yeah, you just never know what's going to happen. But this is just from the past couple of years there. There's the clay-colored sparrow. Be checking for this collar, this white eyebrow, this white like malar stripe right there. Brush up on its call if you can hear it. And then before we get into other questions, some last tips. I think I might have already touched on this a little bit. Think about where the monsoons have deposited the most rain. So wherever there's good monsoons, there's going to be good grasses, which means good seeds, which means good food for the birds. Stop at all the wastewater treatment plants that you can find, because again, you just never know what's going to show up this time of year. Touch on your sparrow ID, because you're not just going to have song sparrows or house sparrows. You're going to have all these other sparrows that are coming in to have to identify. And then it's still going to be hot. September, you think, oh, it's fall, time for pumpkin spice and all that good stuff. No, it's still hot for us here in Tucson. I always get fooled by that. All right, so that's I wish we could keep going, but that's it. I'd love to take some more questions.
Okay. Mary commented that there is a fee for Peña Blanca, and I looked it up while you were talking. It is part of the Catalina State Park, so a national forest, and it's it's an $8 a day fee.
Really?
For a day pass. Yeah.
Well, okay, I've gotten away with it, and I didn't know that. Sorry. Glad you looked that up.
Janelle wanted to know if the lake was spring fed at Kanoa.
So I don't think it's spring fed. They pump that water in there.
Okay. And is there any viewing access other than at the gate on the frontage road at Amado Watershed Treatment Plant?
No, that's pretty much it. So here, let me share my screen on that one here real quick, and I'll show you something. Let's see. Boom. And let me get to map. See how fast I can get there. All right, here's Amado, right here. And you can see it right there as you scroll in. Google Maps is great for this. Just kind of zoom out on Tucson, look for the dark spots where there might be water, and then go explore them. So this is the wastewater treatment plant. Make sure there's these little things in the pond that tend to sometimes hide birds. They'll go in there and roost. And sometimes even if a brown pelican goes in and roosts inside one of these things, they're kind of hard to see. So just get out of the car and use your binoculars to check in to make sure you're not missing anything here or over here on this dock. And what I normally do is I just pull in here and park right there. There's a fence here, and I'll look out over the pond. It does make it hard to see anything if there's anything roosting along the edge, the west edge of the pond. You can't really see it, but what you could do is instead of parking here, you can go up here. There's a little parking area right there that gives you, this is up higher, so it's resting up high, and you're looking down on the lake. And so that enables you to see this section here that you kind of miss by parking here. Now it's kind of far away. You can use a scope, but just with your binoculars, you should be able to get a good view of anything here. And then as we get into winter, there'll be a lot of ruddy ducks, ringneck ducks, and sometimes lesser scaup or greater scaup that come in through here too.
Okay. Let's see. Gary wanted to know if there is a good site for finding out about monsoon totals at different locations.
Yeah, I saw that question. If anyone does know about that.
I actually think that I think I'll check with Watershed Management, and if there is, I will send you the link for it and you can send it out, because I do think there is a water tracking system here, publicly run, a citizen science project, but I will check on that.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Tori.
And then Mary mentioned that they used the Safeway at Continental Road for the restroom, and it seemed safe. And I think she was talking about for Mariposa. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so a lot of these spots, and especially during this COVID time, when it seems like a lot of the different bathrooms are closed, that can be really tricky. Yeah, there's a rest stop. I think the rest stop is still open. That's in between Kanoa and Amato, and it's important to hit those rest stops before you get to your birding location. I know there's a rest stop right outside of Sonoyta that I usually hit when I'm leading trips out there. But yeah, use that rest stop there. And I don't really know of any bathrooms in the Buenos Aires area over there. That's something I should be aware of.
Okay, that's it, except for Linda just put on that the Pima County alert system has rainfall totals.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, thanks, Linda, for putting that up there. And, thanks, Tori, for helping me out with the chat. I really thankful for that. And I'm going to stick around a little bit here. If anyone has any other lingering questions, let me know. And then I'm going to unmute everyone unless you have like background stuff. Yourself
Warren just put on rainlog.org also is another source.
Oh, thanks, Warren. Oh, and Mara tells me that the restrooms in Buenos Aires are closed right now. So yeah, that could be a tough one. Just stop at the last grocery store you see. Sure. All right. Well, thank you to everyone. And any other questions before we close up?
The other day I went out at night because of the Perseid meteor showers. And as soon as I stepped out the back door, an owl flew like 6 inches above my head.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, always fun when an owl flies over you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's too dark to see what kind, but its head, it was real fat and I don't know.
Sounds like a good great horn to me. That's cool.
Yep, sounds like a great horn.
All right. Well, thank you all, and I'm gonna wrap it up here. But if you ever have any other questions, just let me know through email or whatever way you know how to get a hold of me. And I'll see you out there birding again soon, hopefully.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have fun leaving tomorrow, Tom.
Yeah, did you just see someone ask about the walk tomorrow?
Oh, no, I did not. Is a walk at Sweetwater on tomorrow? Well, Mara. Oh, yeah, Mara's still on here. I'll chat with you personally too. So the Sweetwater walk is by registration only. So, and it's filled up for tomorrow.
Okay.
So the next couple of weeks I know are filled up, but there is space in September.
Okay. How much ahead of time should I sign up?
Well, I will put a link in the email I send out today, the follow-up email.
Uh-huh.
And I would say sign up as soon as you can. I think most of the September walks are still open, but they could fill up anytime.
Okay. All righty. Thanks. I didn't realize about pre-registration. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to include that in the follow-up email. Thanks for asking.
Thanks. Excellent presentation.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Have a great time, Luke.
See you later.
Bye.